Rev up your engines. Today, we're going to talk about Toyota Sequoia. He wanted one, but he didn't want the price of a new one. Price the new ones, and you'll see. So, he paid 26 grand for this one. We're going to go through the whole thing, see if it's got any problems. They generally don't have any problems. And realize that this has the big V8 engine that is going to run basically forever. And sure, it uses a lot of gasoline, but guess what? Even the Toyota Tundras with the new twin turbo V6 with hybrid technology, the one that came here was only getting 19 miles a gallon on the highway. So, you get a big vehicle, it's going to use gas, you might as well put a V8 engine in it, right? So, pop the hood, and there it is, and someone was just like me. Beauty cover off and I threw it away. They serve no purpose, people, none whatsoever. You can see there's a little insulation left from it, but that's about it. Who cares? It doesn't need a beauty cover. It's a nice engine, the new style one. Doesn't have timing belts, all timing chain. These things can virtually last forever. And as you can see, this particular one was made in Indiana. They do a pretty good job there. Originally, Toyota made forklifts there. Then they started making the V8 Tundras there. And they do a really good job building cars there. Just like Honda. Honda's been building Hondas in Indiana for a really long time. And they hold up just like these Toyotas do. So even though it's not made in Japan, hey, believe me, in Japan, they really don't care about V8 engines. Gas costs a ton there. They don't have that many miles of roads. They're not big on V8s in Japan. They only made the V8 to begin with, really, for the American market. I think it makes the most sense is, it's just rear-wheel drive. It's two-wheel drive. Because, let's face it, they're not off-road vehicles. That's not what they're made for. They're made for driving down the road. Now, he lives in Tennessee. And this thing came from Texas. Maybe if you live in a snow belt, you're worried about getting stuck in the snow, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you something. You put snow tires on the back of this thing, you'll be able to drive it through all kinds of snow. I drove one through giant snow monstrosities in California, through the mountains one winter. It had no problems with snow tires on the back. Particular Sequoia is the Platinum Edition, so, hey, he's got a lot of bells and whistles in this thing, and he didn't have to pay the list price. Put some cheesy thing over the window. Look, they come already in. Still good leather. That leather's still in excellent shape. We got a DVD player. He said he's not going to use it, so he doesn't really care. But, I mean, look at the space. It's enormous. He's got the back seats out, down, so he carries a bunch of stuff with him instead. You can use them as a work vehicle, and of course you can use them for a luxury drive-around vehicle too. Just clean up the mess that you made once you take all your tools out of the back of it, right? Now, he just got this, so we want to see what kind of shape it's in to see if anybody pulled a fast one on it. I'm doing a check of a vehicle somebody just bought, or before they buy it, preferably. I'm always going to use my giant scan tool because I don't want to miss anything. And this thing is pretty good for not missing anything. Here we go, it's already detected it. We'll just do a standalone. We don't need to keep any of this data. So, we know it's a Sequoia 2013 3URFE V8 engine. Here we go. We're going to do a full scan of everything. And while we're looking at it, I don't know, sunroof. It's older, so it's got a CD player that it came with, but it still has collision avoidance on it. And like I said, it can be a work vehicle. He's got it on comfort now. You can put it on regular, you can put it on sport, you can set it up for towing and all and stuff. Raise and lower it yourself if you want. Now, it's got 6 codes, but a lot of them probably aren't going to mean much. We'll look at the engine and ECTC, startability faults, laser sensor, that's a historical one. Inevitably, if you get an old enough Toyota, it's going to trip the code for startability fault, because if the battery gets weak or somebody uses the wrong key to try to start it, the key has security stuff and the car won't start right. I see that so much, and the laser sensors will often get dirt on them and they'll get codes. So, we saw these codes, and now we'll see if they come back after we road test it. Now, another fault is the air suspension system. We'll see what that one is. Code for continuous current to exhaust solenoid. Sometimes they'll do that when it's cold outside if they freeze, so we're going to erase that and see if any of that stuff comes back after we road test it. Because if it really had a problem with the exhaust solenoid and it was open the whole time, it'd be lying down on the ground, which it isn't doing. So, a lot of times they'll get a little moisture, they'll freeze when it's cold, and it's been cold this winter, so easily that could have caused that. The last one is cruise control. We'll see what that trouble code is. And that was the same code that was in the other one. A lot of times the codes will go from one to the other, so that's erased. Now we'll look at live data. I'll start her up. and we'll look at the live data. This will tell us what shape it's in. Mass airflow sensors normal. Remember, black is good, red is bad. Battery voltage is normal. Closed loop like it's supposed to be. Now the long-term fuel trim is 0.781. Well, that's not bad. It's less than 1% off. Got 79,652 miles on it, but hey, it's less than 1% off. It's adding just a tiny amount of fuel, and that's pretty normal for this mileage. It's almost perfect. Your ratio sensor, it's minus 0.01, now 0 is perfect. So it's going between 1/100th% off to perfect. So that's pretty good. Valve timing's all normal. Typical Toyota, misfire count, 0 the whole way down. Speed's perfect, they're all exactly the same. 6-speed automatics, I like these 6-speed automatics. They don't hunt for gears, they feel good. So let's take it for a spin. Guy said they use up gas. Said the new one got 19 on the highway. This one's getting 15.8 combined, so it's really not all that different. And this has an insanely reliable, powerful V8 engine that can go 500,000 miles. You're never going to get that out of a twin-turbo V6. So the backup camera's kind of basic. The newer ones work quite a bit better, but it's good enough to see. And here we go. You're way up in the air in one of these things. You certainly don't have to worry about running into anything. You are high up in the air. It's a big vehicle, so, you know, it's not racing handling. It's kind of like riding a big sofa down the road when it comes to that. It's comfy, it's got a nice ride. But really, you don't buy some big giant thing like this to race around in. You can haul a lot of stuff, you can tow a lot of stuff, but you're not racing in this thing. Well, you shouldn't be anyway. So here we go, telephone road, nobody's coming, so here we go to the little drag strip. And of course, it's not a drag strip machine either, but it does have a big old V8 engine in it, so we'll see how it does. There's nobody behind us, so here we go. We'll come to a stop. It's all clear behind us, and here we go. Whoop! Hey, it takes off pretty good. Smooth shift. Let off on the gas. Definitely has a lot of power, right? We'll see what it's like to pass people. Speedometer picks up, good for passing. I just like these V8s. They have the torque and the feeling that you're never going to get out of a V6 turbocharged or not. You're going to get a big vehicle like this. It's going to use up fuel. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So you want something like this with the big V8? Hey, it's the vehicle to get. If you want to save money on gas, this isn't the vehicle for you. They use a lot of gas because they got a big V8 engine and they're heavy vehicles. But the heaviness gives them a nice ride. Road testing it, my machine's still hooked up. So we'll see if any of those codes come back. Kind of doubt it. Because he told me that when he went to pick it up, they said, oh, the battery was dead. So we had to charge it up. Well, a dead battery is going to trip all kinds of codes on these modern cars. So that doesn't surprise me at all. V8 it idles like a dream. Nice and quiet. You know, you can hear the cars passing you while you're waiting at a light. And the turn signal when you turn it on. And the inside, as you can see, it's just as big as a sequoia tree. Maybe that's why they call it the Sequoia. It's huge inside. I do have to say, driving around this thing feels like I'm driving around a giant couch. The only thing I'd be worried about is falling asleep while I'm driving this thing. It's so comfy and pretty quiet inside. I seriously would be worried about falling asleep. All of my vehicles rattle and clunk and kind of keeps you awake. This thing may lull you into a false sense of security and fall asleep. Comes a moment of truth. We took it for a road test. Let's see if any of those codes came back. Do a fault scan, see if anything comes back. 58, 62% done, 70%. And it's almost done, 87%, 100%, and look, none of the codes came back. So there you have it. If you want a vehicle as big as a tree, a Sequoia is probably for you. It's going to run a really long time. Yeah, it's going to use a lot of gas. That's just the way that it goes. They're comfy. They got space. You can use it as a work vehicle. You can use it as a luxury vehicle. You can take vacations in it. You can put the seats down, sleep in it if you wanted to, you know. But they don't make them like they used to. You know, Toyota's not going to be making these V8 engines probably for anything, and they last so long and they're so bulletproof. It makes no sense to me, because if you want a vehicle this size, you want a V8 engine, and you want something that's going to last, these things can basically last forever. And you might think, oh, he paid $26,000 for a used car. Oh yeah, let's talk to him 10 years from now when it's still going down the road running like a clock. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.